This week we have a really uplifting and supportive message from the angels where they are letting us know that we are already okay and they're telling us why. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. I am so glad you are here. Thank you so much for joining me, for sharing these messages together. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel. And by that I mean I go into a deep meditative state or trance. And from there I raise my vibration up as high as I can go. And then I stretch a little bit higher. I connect at the angelic realm. And then messages, information, and healing come through, and I share it here with you guys on YouTube. I have a beautiful message for you today, and I really love it because it kind of harkens back to some of the early work I did understanding manifestation and understanding the process of creation and how it is different to create something that we're just trying to manifest towards us that already exists in the world, like trying to draw in the parking spot or trying to draw in the new job or whatever it is. That is the kind of manifestation we often talk about. But what about when we're trying to create something that has never existed before? And this is touching on that a little bit, but it's a beautiful message. I'm calling it that you're already okay, and here's why. So before I dive into the message, I wanted to make sure you guys know, if you did not know, I have something extremely fun coming up in October that if you have ever wanted to come and be in person with the angels and to really soak in that vibration, to be in a super high vibe community of people and to be receiving the healings both from the Mother of Creation as well as from the angels in person, then I would love, love, love for you to come and join me this October at our Expand Your Heart retreats. We only do this once a year, and it is one of my favorite experiences. So it'll be I think it's the third weekend in October, and the information is on my website, which you guys know, antucker.com. And it is the way we do the retreat is it's literally an opportunity to soak in the frequency. So I call it Eat, Pray, Love, because that's what we do all day. We go eat, pray, love, eat, pray, love, eat, pray, love. So this is an intense weekend, but it's intensely fun. So we start out, we have the meals we do all vegan because we're trying to stay in that super high vibe with the angels. And it just helps us. The more light we bring into the body, the easier it is to connect. So it's all catered, but it's all vegan. So we eat and then we come in together into session. We do sessions 3 times a day where we're bringing in the angels and the Mother of Creation. We do 2 Mother of Creation healings every day, which is very intense. And then and then after that, we have time with one another, time with community, and time to meet one another, time to make friends. So Saturday night, we always do a fun kind of a party on Saturday night, which is really, you got to have fun too and mix it in. So anyways, I love this experience. We did our first one last year and I can hardly wait for this one. So if you happen to be near the area, if you want to come in, we do have people coming in actually from all over the world that come in for the retreat. And it's really easy to get to. It is a short shuttle ride from the airport, even though it's kind of a unicorn because it's close to an airport, but it is a nature lodge. We're on an 18-acre wetlands. So it has a gorgeous garden around it. It feels like you're truly in the middle of nature, but you don't have to rent a car if you're flying in, which is really, really nice. So anyways, if you would like more information, I'm going to include the link in the description box in the comments so you guys will have it. And and I hope if you can make it, we would love to have you there. So, all right. And then you're coming soon. All right, that's so great. It's in Washington State, Jennifer. So if you can, it's in. I live near Seattle, so it's near Seattle. And then Ross is in. Dawn has her ticket. Fantastic, woohoo! Dawn was there last year. So last year we definitely ate a lot, prayed a lot, and loved a lot. Absolutely. Jennifer says it's been a long time since something was just fun. Yeah, and I think it's so important. Like that is a big part of how we flow with the new vibration is like celebration and being in touch with our fun, having a good time, laughing. Like these are super healing vibrations. So yeah, it's the seriousness of having fun. It's really important. Yeah. Christy says lots of fun at the retreats. I loved your costume last time, Christy. You were awesome. That is so cool. Yeah. And can I be Medicine Man this year? The beard. Totally. Yes. Oh, that is so fun. That's so fun. So, all right. Okay, you guys. So let's dive in to the message if you are ready. All right. So quick summary of the message. It is, as I was saying, it is about how right now, as we are thinking about what's coming. I think we have a tendency to look at what's going on in the world, especially as the world becomes increasingly chaotic and fragmented. And we tend to look at it, and there may be times where we fall into like judgment about what's going on, or revulsion about what's going on, anger about what's going on, and that's a really natural response because there's things that are very, very triggering in our world at the moment. But as we do that, the more we react to it, the more we're pushing those things, saying that is not me, that's not who I am, I'm in rejection of those things. So as we reject what we don't want, we are at the same time looking to the future, and we're looking at what's on the horizon and what's coming, and we're saying, I want to go there. I want to be in the higher vibration. I want to be in the new reality, in the new earth. So we're holding these two ideals, right? The one of like, not this, and I choose that. And we are in the middle. And they're saying it's very natural, very human of us to be in this position as we're trying to move into the new earth. And they're saying that what we need to do is understand that that's how we feel, but recognize that everything that we're perceiving in our external reality is inside of us. And the balancing that has to take place comes from releasing our resistance to what was and opening our acceptance to what's coming, and to letting them blend inside of our bodies. So it's a beautiful message, and they give us some understanding of how to do this in this message. So, but I think it's super helpful to understand, because what they're saying is that we need to hold this openness inside of us because of the fact that because how we create the new reality, we have to come from this place of stillness. So coming from stillness means being in the moment, being accepting with what is and what's coming, letting them in and letting them sort of be in the vibration of I am, to that space where I'm not trying to change what is, right? And that's the thing, when we're trying to look to the past and look to the future, we're trying to change both of them. We're saying, I don't want to be there and I want to be there. None of it is saying I'm good where I am right now. All of it is saying where I don't want to go and where I want to go, which pulls us out of the moment. And in the moment is the only place that the new earth will be created. So the message is saying we need to get into this space of stillness so that we can tap into the infinite potential of the divine feminine, of the mother of creation. And it is from that, because the new earth, where is it coming from? It's coming from inside of us. Like the new earth, we are the birthers of the new earth. It's going to be created from inside of us. And so if we're not present in the moment, in the space of peace, of loving what is, that's going to be a big impediment to its coming out of us, to it birthing from us. We have to tap into infinite potential, because if we're focusing on things that are right now what we don't want, or even if we're focusing on the future, we're holding ourselves in separation from the moment. And we're creating, if we're thinking about the past, we're creating from the past. So anyways, they explain it way better than I can, but that's my summary. Yeah. And it's a beautiful message. And that part about what I was saying about how my previous work about soul types and understanding creation is the idea that the way that we've learned to manifest, it has been that we've learned to manifest by, thinking, feeling that as if we already have something and being very positive about it, imagining and that it's already occurred, and we fall into resonance, hopefully, with that thing, and we draw it into our field. Like that's kind of the general quickie synopsis that we've all been taught through The Secret and all those things over the many, many years of like in spirituality. That's how we talk about manifestation. So this is creating something that does not exist takes a different skill set. It takes a different process of creation. And this touches on that. It's really about being able to tap into the infinite potential outside of what exists now and allow it to rise up organically. So I think it's really, really important, this message. So let's read it. So if you guys are ready, let's go into it.
Beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Be alive now to the changes that are afoot. The openings where you are forming now, transparent but viable. They expand into the moments, into the secrets, into the closely held endowments that are given in the peaceful times of your own acknowledgement of presence. Be aware now of the comings down of separation and how it will unfold upon yourselves into greater and greater distancing from things that were. Allow yourselves to make peace and surrender to what is lost, to what is forlorn, to what will be forgotten in the shadow. There shall be the times that are coming where new risings become themselves, and where your own forsaken belongings or livelihoods or shapes of separation become known to themselves no more, where you make peace with what is change and allow the shape of the new to come into presence. We speak to you now of your own longings for peace, for presence, for oneness, and your longing to stay separated. For the two exist simultaneously within you, a push and pull of magnetic proportions that draws you into a furrowing embrace with yourself. We wish for you to make peace with yourself, internal, to understand and have the understanding that while you are stretching away and together at once, you make no preparation for what is actually becoming within you. There is an external focus from yourself to that which you belong and remove yourself from, as if you are stretching away and toward, rather than settling within. The embrace you shall have will be one of internal scope and focus. It shall be one of harmonizing within yourselves what you are becoming and what is arriving. However, there is as of yet an external pull toward and against what is rising and what is falling away. There is the sense outside of yourself that what is rising gently upon the horizon must be moved toward, must be drawn in, must be surrendered to, must be called forward, as if you are reaching always to something you will herald outside of yourselves. And there is also the sensation that what is and has been rising upon the earth that is gestational, that you would remove yourself from, as if this is something you must push away, as you surrender away from that belonging, as you move and sway in the distancing to what you no longer wish to belong to. That which has heralded the shape of yesterday, and you separate and find your own peace, a pushing, a resisting, a redrawing of your own boundaries, a wishfulness, a desiring to move away. These are an externalization of what is happening within you. That which you resist on the external and that which you move toward on the horizon are all drawn from and are made of different parts of yourself. Thus, in the reparations that would be made to draw you toward a greater expression of your own truth, we advise you to simplify your mind and to bring it inward toward the placements of your own glory and your own fatigue. Where is it, internal, that your boundaries are unsettled? Where do you find yourselves in disquiet with this world as it rocks itself not so gently against this reality? Where do you find yourself most triggered, most tortured, most upset? And allow these to settle disharmoniously in your own suggestive nature. Come to peace with what is. Become transparent, transparent, transparent inside of you. The deregulation of what has been your requirements your requests, your asks, the deregulation of these. I wish for none of these. I wish for not this. I want to be far from this. Embrace these moments, these certitudes about what is against your own beliefs, and allow them to be and become themselves separately if they must. But be not in resistance, for within that resistance, you are engaged in a dance of continuation. Be in the moment of embracing what is, with the knowledge that it will pass of its own suggestion. Come to peace with what is. Become transparent to your own resistance to what is unfolding. Let it rise like a breath and exhale itself in the next moment. In this same timing, come to the realization of what you desire most, of what is moving inside of you, of what feels so far off in the distance that you cannot yet claim it. You know only of it because of some wishfulness in your nature. Allow this to rise into presence with you, as if one such as yourself has already claimed it and stands just afar, where you may touch fingers and then come closer and touch noses. For this is yourself, a new beginning, a new self, a new pace for becoming. Allow this presence of your own embodiedness to come into harmony with what is today. Allow this aspect of you to become real, firm, and present. Allow these two states of being in harmony with one another. You may allow what is in its gestational fury, in its suggestion of decomposition and chaos, and you may let in the glory of your own sublime exaltation. And you may become these two things, for they exist both between themselves and within you. They are a disharmonious bunch. They do not like one another, but they are both yourself. They are both born from the moment, from the instant. The harmony you find is in your own understanding of what is. Come to terms with your own presence and your own present nature without judgment, without ascertaining or deciding or leaning or controlling, and simply be guided by the inspiration of each exhale. Allow yourself not to lean, but to glide, to flow with ease between exhales, noticing what is, understanding the chaos, feeling what is exhausting itself, letting it rise to be and become, and accepting this, while also understanding that you are both in the past, the present, and the future moment. And the future moment exists alongside you as well. And this new beginning holds your hand most firmly. And as you stand in the moment of peace and surrender to this instant, you are the bridge between these two extremes of existence. You are the momentary expression of your soul as it digests, exhales, and prepares to begin again. And allow yourself to be. And this is all that is required. Okay. So, yeah. Wow, says Jennifer. Yeah, I totally, right? The 3D self touches noses with the 5D self. Exactly, right? Yeah. So it's a beautiful, and I love as the message goes on, I feel like it gets crisper and clearer what they're really trying to say. And I get visuals, and hopefully you guys do too, as you're hearing this, that what I see as they're talking about this is this idea that we are reacting to our reality and reacting to the places where we feel like we want to be divorced from the stuff that we don't like in the world. And we really, really want this brighter, better future. And we're leaning hard into that. And there may be places in your life where gosh, it would be so nice if this could just happen already. I mean, like, I would like to stop whatever circumstance is happening right now and be there instead. And that's natural. It's natural because we've been hearing about this for so long. So it's natural to feel that way. And they're saying that the place we need to get to is in the understanding that the place that the new reality begins is literally right with you in the moment that you're in right now. And you hold these two extremes inside of you. And they're not opposites. They're actually both you. And they're both me. Like, they are us. So we have to embrace them. And that the place the new earth is born from is from the place of embracing these two pieces of us, right? Is from the place of stopping our resistance. And that resistance to the past, like what we're trying to say, I don't want that. But leaning into the future is the resistance of the present. Right? When we're saying, I can't wait for that, I can't wait for the new earth, we're resisting now. So both are resistance. So the idea is we have to let down the resistance. We have to let go of the idea that there's going to be somewhere better than here, and let go of the idea that we're not the present, and say, okay, I am all of this, and this is great, and I'm good. I am okay right now. Like, where I am right now, who I am right now is good enough to shift the consciousness of the planet. Like, that's the space we have to be in, that we right now are okay. And everything that we are today is a high enough vibe to change the earth completely, right? To shift to a higher frequency. All we got to do is stop resisting. Stop resisting what was and stop resisting the now. Yeah, so it's a beautiful message. It really is. Yeah. So let's go ahead and break it down paragraph by paragraph, because we do get so much more out of it when we do. So, and they say, so in the first paragraph, they say, be alive now to the changes that are afoot, the openings where you are forming now, transparent but viable. And they talk about transparent later in the message too. And it's an interesting choice of words, right? That be alive to the changes that are afoot, be alive to it, to the changes. So where are we alive? In the present moment, right? Be alive in the present moment to the changes that are happening around us, right? The openings, they say. So, and they've told us before in past messages that there are openings all around us right now where we have opportunities to step into higher vibration. And then they say they are transparent but viable. So when something is transparent, right, it's not that it doesn't exist, but we can see through it. So here they're using it transparent. These openings are transparent. They might not be super obvious. It might not be hitting us in the face, but they are viable. So there's an element here where we have to slow down. We have to be in the present. We have to notice. There's a co-creation that has to happen in terms of our awareness to step into the opportunities to feel this higher vibration. They go on to say, they expand into the moments, into the secrets, into the closely held endowments that are given in the peaceful times of your own acknowledgement of presence. So that's when we're going to hear it, see it, feel it. It really is always about trying to be present in the now. They go on next paragraph, and this is where they're saying this is really right now. The time that we are in is a time of letting go. They say, be aware now of the comings down of separation and how it will unfold upon yourselves into greater and greater distancing from things that were. Allow yourselves to make peace and surrender to what is lost, to what is forlorn, to what will be forgotten in the shadow. So this is really reflecting the phase that we are in this shift in consciousness. And it is not all or nothing. Like, we know that there is a certain amount of where we, like they just said in the last message, that there's opportunities for us to step into the higher vibration now, and you are yourselves probably drifting in and out of it, where sometimes you have an amazing day, sometimes you have a not so good day. It's like some of this is happening, but there are moments, like sublime moments, where you just feel like everything, all cylinders are firing, or maybe you feel it's super divinely connected, or however it's showing up for you. But overall, in terms of the collective, the time that we are in right now is the time of the unraveling. And we have been seeing it like hot and heavy since 2020 has been this serious time of unraveling. And so it is the idea of greater and greater distancing from things that were. The more that things unravel, the more distance we have from them. And we have to learn to make peace and surrender to whatever is lost in this process, to what we have to leave behind. And so next paragraph, they say, there shall be the times that are coming where new risings become themselves, and where your own forsaken belongings or livelihoods or shapes of separation become known to themselves no more, where you make peace with what is change and allow the shape of the new to come into presence. So I love in this paragraph. So yes, they are talking about, they're saying, hey, this isn't just abstract. This may affect us personally. There may be things that we personally are leaving behind. And that could be relationships. It could be homes in the case of a disaster. I know there's, people in our community who do live, in Los Angeles during the fires, and live in, in the American South, during the giant hurricanes, and people who have had serious shifting in where they live or in their jobs, or those types of things that each of us may have loss in one way or another come to our door. And so they're saying that, and then so I like in this paragraph where they address it, they say yes, that this is a period of letting go for humanity, but it may also be a period of letting go for us. And so they say, where you make peace with what has changed and allow the shape of the new to come into presence. So it's not just about the loss. The loss is freeing up energy in your world for something new to take form. And I have seen this as a true thing about healing in any form. And I noticed this first, those of you who've done my angelic frequency series, there's 2 frequencies in that program. It's a series of these 9 angelic frequencies that the angels brought through that help us to embrace the new earth. And there's 2 of them that are about strengthening a connection. One is a connection to the earth, and the other is a connection up. And in each of those 2 sessions, before they do that connection, they lead us through a healing to free up energy. So for example, in one of them, they lead us through an experience of letting go of expectations that were unfulfilled. So if you think about what that's like, having an expectation for something that never happened. So you might be like, okay, maybe your expectation was you were going to go to the prom in high school, and then something happened and you got sick, or you didn't have a date and you didn't go. And that lingers out there with like a little bit like, I didn't get to go to my prom, that's out there. It's like, oh, this feeling of like I had this expectation that was unmet. And it sticks, and it's an energy suck, an energy drain. There's an unresolved like line of your experience that just stays out there in your field. And letting go of those, and the expectations can be little or big. They could be expectations like I thought I was going to be, in a different kind of marriage, or in a marriage, or I thought I was going to be the king of the world, or whatever it is. Like whatever the expectation was, those expectations, and we could have a lot of them depending on how our life went. That those all we're sending energy to all of those. Even now, where our past self is drawing energy from our field to nurture and fester with those unmet expectations. So by letting go of those expectations, we all of a sudden draw that energy back to ourselves. So in these sessions, what the angels did is they said, okay, first we're gonna release all these old expectations. Then we're going to take that energy back and we're gonna use it to increase your connection to earth, or increase your connection up. So it showed me really clearly this idea that healing takes energy, that it is not something you can do out of nothing. It's like a combustion, and you got to put fuel in it. There has to be something that you use to fuel the shift. And so this concept of freeing up energy. So as we are letting go of things in our lives, potentially the things that held a lot of energy, that letting go of that, releasing it from our field creates, you hear of it talked about as a vacuum, but what if it isn't so much of a vacuum as it is that all of a sudden, if you are a being of constant energy and your energy is no longer going to those things, you've got all this energy. And where is it going to go, right? You get to create from, and if you're able to be in peace with it, to be like, okay, all right, now what's going to rise from who I am today, right? From everything I've learned and gained and loved about myself, what new can I create from right now? That's the goal, right? So that's what I love about this paragraph, how they take it there. They say, yes, loss may come to our door. And when it does, right, where you make peace with what is changed, we make peace with it, and then allow the shape of the new to come into presence. And I love the term, allow the shape of the new. I imagine it like the present moment is like this pool of magic in front of us, like this liquid of infinite potential, and once we get still enough, and the pool gets still enough, which means really being at peace with what is, then there's like bubbling up from inside the pool is like something new and exciting, and something that's great, something that is really a reflection of who you are today. That's what I love about that paragraph. I love that paragraph. Okay, next one. They say, we speak to you now of your own longings for peace, for presence, for oneness, and you're longing to stay separated. Which the way they say it is like, yes, I mean, I see this so clearly in myself and in people that like everyone. I think we're all doing this. We long for peace, for presence, for oneness, and we're like, yeah, I don't want to be part of that. That whole like the bad news stuff. That's not who I am. Like we want to be separated from that. And they say, for the two exist simultaneously within you, a push and a pull of magnetic proportions that draws you into a furrowing embrace with yourself. And furrowing. So furrowing is like a furrow is like a rut or a groove. And so when something is furrowing, it's like a frowny anxiety, like it's like when you're concentrating your brow, like normally you get these lines. My brow doesn't really do that as much. But a furrowed, I do it right here, furrowed brow. So it's just not how my face is made. But I can furrow if I really work at it. So frowning with anxiety or concentration, or tightened in disapproval. So that is the kind of embrace, right? I love it. A furrowed embrace. Yeah, we're hugging ourselves, right? It's a push and pull of magnetic proportions that draws you into a furrowing embrace with yourself. So we wish for you to make peace with yourself internal. So it's like we're here with ourselves. We have the peace where there's pushing away that and pulling towards that. And it's like a very uncomfortable like embrace where we're like, I'm not happy with anything. I'm not happy with present. I'm not happy with the past, right? So that's the idea. Like we're in disapproval and understanding that we're reacting to the outside, which actually means we're reacting to the inside, because everything that we are seeing, everything that's landing in our awareness is a reflection of who we are on the inside. There's something in there that belongs to us because it landed in our awareness. So there's something in there that we're like, okay, there's a piece of that I understand or that I have a relationship to in some way. And we're not at peace with it. So to understand and have the understanding that while you are stretching away and together at once, you make no preparation for what is actually becoming within you. Whoosh, like that one right there, you guys. To understand and have the understanding that while you are stretching away and together at once, you make no preparation for what is actually becoming within you. So this is, I think, is the clearest way they could say it. And I put a big star next to this sentence because they're really saying as long as we're in that state of rejection of the past and rejection of the present, then we are not actually in preparation for creating the new earth, because that's going to come from the place of stillness and peace with what is, so that it can bubble up into form from the infinite potential. That's the idea here, which is, I think, the most critical thing in the message. I think it's super well said here. They go on to say, there is an external focus from yourself to that which you belong and remove yourself from, as if you are stretching away and toward rather than settling within. The embrace you shall have will be one of internal scope and focus. It shall be one of harmonizing within yourselves what you are becoming and what is arriving. However, there is, as of yet, an external pull towards and against what is rising and what is falling away. There is the sense outside of yourself that what is rising gently upon the horizon must be moved toward, must be drawn in, must be surrendered to, must be called forward, as if you are reaching always to something you will herald outside of yourselves. So, and I think this is a big one too, because we've heard so much about the new earth and about what it's going to be like. And a lot of the stuff we hear about is it's like perfect. The new earth is amazing. It's like love and compassion. Everybody's happy and it's great. And we want that. Like we want it to be amazing. And then there's some part of ourselves that are like, okay, well, am I worthy? Like, am I healed enough? Am I that on the inside? The things that I'm hoping New Earth will be, am I that right now? Like, am I always that awesome? Like, I'm speaking for myself. I'm like, okay, well, sometimes, maybe. Like, sometimes I'm that awesome. When on good days, I'm that awesome. So we're reaching for it. We're reaching for it to always, to something you will herald outside of yourselves. And they go on to say, and so that is that idea that we're making it removed from ourselves. And they go on to say, and there is also the sensation that what is and has been rising upon the earth that is gestational, so the stuff that's currently brewing in the earth that's going to be rebirthed. They said that you would remove yourself from sort of all the nasty stuff that's going on in the world, that we want to remove ourselves from, as if this is something you must push away as you surrender away from that belonging, as you move and sway in the distancing to what you no longer wish to belong to, that which has heralded the shape of yesterday, and you separate and find your own peace, a pushing, a resisting, a redrawing of your boundaries, a wishfulness, a desiring to move away. So both of these are really, I think, spending a beautiful moment to help draw a very clear picture of how we are not in the moment, of how we are not being in presence with ourselves and accepting what is, which is one of the biggest messages they've been giving us in the last several months, has been accepting what is. And to be clear, that does not mean we have to like what is. Doesn't mean we have to love the war, doesn't mean we have to love that any of the difficult things that are happening in the world. It just means we have to acknowledge that they are true. And that's it. And when we stop the resistance we have to the stuff that's happening, whether it be in the past or in the present, the resistance we have is that we have a really hard time believing that it could be true because it's awful. Like, we are divine beings, and it's very hard for us to accept that this is true, because it just is like, how could someone do that? How could someone treat someone that way or treat me that way or whatever it is? How could that possibly happen? So we have a huge, it's almost like a dissonance with our reality where we just can't come to terms with it. And it puts us into a resistance. So we fight it because we don't want it to be true. Every time it pops up, we beat it back down again as best we can, one way or another, where we push it away as fast as we can because we do not want it to be true. And if we just get to the place, this is where the subconscious is, where the subconscious is fighting to create the reality in a way that feels better for us. We're trying to deny these things so that reality, the world, feels safer for us. Because it's scary. It's scary to be in a world where those things are true. So the place we need to get to is in the place where we say, okay, it is true. Those things are true, and I am safe. I'm safe anyways, but those things are true, and I accept that they are true. Doesn't mean I like it. And by accepting that it is true, we then stop resisting it. And when we resist it, we keep it alive. We keep it rising up into the world. If we could just stop resisting it, then we create from who we are today, which is not that, and then we won't create it anymore. So it's wacky. It's like it goes against the human conscious, our perception that we have to be the ones doing to create a reality. That if we don't do something, like, you got to do something. It's like, no, you have to be something. We have to stop doing. We have to start being. The more we do, the more we are creating it again and again and again and again because we're resisting it. So it seems like it's the wrong thing from a moral perspective. Like, if bad things are happening in the world, I have to fight those bad things. And like I said, it doesn't mean we have to like it, and that doesn't mean that we don't take the natural steps. So for example, vote your conscience. Stand up if someone near you needs your help. Those kinds of things. The things, workplaces where it's natural to take action in your current environment, but it is the part of the emotion is what's important. Are you triggered? You can take action and still understand that the world is safe for you. So it is your emotional engagement is what is really we're talking about here, is getting to the place of understanding you're going to put down the emotional battle. And it doesn't mean you like it, but you are not creating from that frequency any longer. You're creating from who you are today, which is from a place of peace and self-love and goodness. So yeah, I just feel like it takes time to really think about this because it is such a change from what we are taught about living in our world. So, okay, next paragraph, and this is a big one. They say, these are an externalization of what is happening within you. Both of these ways, rejecting the past, rejecting the present, they're both externalizations of what is happening within you. That which you resist on the external and that which you would move toward on the horizon are all drawn from and made of different parts of yourself. Thus, in the reparations, which means making amends for a wrongdoing, in the reparations that would be made to draw you toward a greater expression of your own truth, we advise you to simplify your mind and to bring it inward toward the placements of your own glory and your own fatigue. So in other words, worry less about what's going on outside and focus more about what's happening on the inside. Next paragraph. Where is it internal that your boundaries are unsettled? Where do you find yourselves in disquiet with this world as it rocks itself not so gently against this reality? Where do you find yourself most triggered, most tortured, most upset? And allow these to settle disharmoniously in your own suggestive nature. And so this is how they suggest we become conscious about where and how we're doing this, is to notice when you get triggered, to notice what in the world really upsets you. Like where, and that could be fear. Like, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of earth changes? Are you afraid of the war? Are you angry about, what's going on in the world? Any kind of human rights violations? Do they bother you? anything. Like, what is it that when it happens, or you hear it, or it pops up in the news, it has an emotional impact on you. So those are the places to notice, to focus. That's a places where we are in resistance. So it's odd. Like, for me, like, one of the ways that this would have really been true is, I remember back when I had my children were babies, and anytime I saw anybody hungry, I would almost start crying. Like, if there would be like shows where there'd be like those Sarah McLachlan commercials were like all over the TV back then, and there'd be these pets that were like sad looking, and I would just immediately, like, the waterworks would turn on, and I just could not stand. It's like the mothering instinct. I couldn't stand the idea of somebody being like, especially a vulnerable creature, being hungry, anybody being hungry. I was like, I must feed you, and it was this thing that I couldn't, it was a hormone, I guess. I could not control it, but it would trigger me hugely. And yes, pets and all the things, you know what I mean? I was trying to feed everyone, but it was just a thing where I was very, very sensitive to that in that moment. And yeah, external stuff would bring up my own internal, like, and I think it was a natural maternal instinct for my children to be like making sure they were okay, making sure they were fed, and all those things. But it happens to us all the time. It happens to us in whatever areas of fear that we might have. So each of us has our trigger zone. So think about, like, what might yours be? Is yours going to be more, it could be about your safety. It could be about your health. And maybe your person, like, maybe like the talk about like chemical agents or new viruses, maybe that really gets you. Maybe it's going to be the injustices in the world where there's people who are being abused or hurt, Maybe it's going to be about like what is it? What is it that really triggers you? What type of information settles in you and gets a rise out of you? And that's the thing to notice, to become aware. That is what we're pushing against, and to come to terms with it and to acknowledge that it's true. So, okay. So then they go on to say, come to peace with what is. Become transparent inside of you. So this is that idea, right? Start to see where these things are inside of us. The deregulation of what has been your requirements, your requests, your asks, the deregulation of these. I wish for none of these. I wish for not this. I want to be far from this. So this is that really like all, even the moments where we've been asking for their intervention, for the angels to help us. And they say, just let these go. And then say, embrace these moments, these certitudes about what is against your own beliefs. And I like the word certitudes there, because to be certain about something leaves absolutely no space for anything else. So where is it that you feel, where you have certitude? It's such a strong word. You have certitude in anything. Is there any place where you're just like, well, this is right and that is wrong? And anywhere where you feel that is a strong resistance, right? That is a lot of resistance. So feel into anywhere you feel like I got to put, and they use the word boundaries up above. Like, where's your boundary? I put my foot down. I will not allow this, right? Like, notice that is a big, big trigger. So they're really trying to help us see ourselves. Embrace these moments, these certitudes about what is against your own beliefs, and allow them to be and become themselves separately if they must. So this concept, allow them to be and become themselves. As they're saying this, the angels give me the vision that everything that exists is like a wave, that it rises up and it moves along, and then gradually it loses energy and it gradually falls. Everything rises like an inhale and an exhale. And when we fight it, we're adding energy into that thing. So we're keeping it alive longer and longer and longer because we're fighting with it. Right? We provide the energy. But if we just let go, the thing will rise like a breath and then naturally fall. But it has to rise. It has to express. The energy has to go somewhere. It must express itself because it's a truth. It is a truth about humanity. It's a truth about ourselves. It has to come to the surface. So if we can just allow it to go through that process, it will express itself, and then it will fall much faster than if we fight it. If we just allow it to express, let go, it's like the finger cuffs. If you've got your fingers in those little woven finger cuffs and you're pulling and pulling and pulling, if you just stop and you just relax, then your fingers just slide right out. And that's the idea. So, where was that? There it is. Embrace these moments, these certitudes, and allow them to be and become themselves separately if they must. So in other words, it's like even if you can see them becoming themselves but they're not part of you. They don't have to be coming in your exact world. You just need to not resist it, not fight it in the same way. And then if they must means that you don't have to like it. That's that little tag on there. If they must, you don't have to like it. It goes on next paragraph, and I highlighted this one as being important. But be not in resistance, for within that resistance you are engaged in a dance of continuation. Be in the moment of embracing what is with the knowledge that it will pass of its own suggestion. So that is that idea. If we just allow it to do its thing, it will fall. And then come to peace with what is. Become transparent in your own resistance to what is unfolding. Let it rise like a breath and exhale itself in the next moment. And you guys, I know this is such a weird concept, and I know it's so hard to wrap our heads around. And I will say for myself that one of the journeys of my life, you guys know this, that I have had to leave things behind over and over and over again. And I, a lot of times, had a hard time leaving. So in that, the angels would tell me, I would be like, well, I will leave as soon as I get all my ducks in a row. And as soon as, I will leave this relationship once I know that I've got a safe place to go, or once I know I'll stop doing this work, once I know the other work is going to support my family, and the angels would say, the new work will not support your family until you free up the energy to do it. And you cannot free up the energy until you leave the work you're doing now. You have to let go before you can create the new thing. And that is against every human instinct that we have, as well as all of the streetwise, never quit your current job until the new job is lined up. Like, that's what we're always told. And it feels so much safer to do it that way, right? That you want to create the new bed. And the one time I didn't listen, so I was running this program, beautiful program that I love, but it was very, very energy intensive. And the angels told me to stop doing it, which they do on occasion. They're like, oh, that way you earn your living, stop doing that, because there's going to be something new coming and we're not going to tell you what it is. And this happens like every 2 years. And so they did that. And they said, stop doing this thing that pays your bills and that you love, and something new will come. So I was like, well, I will mostly stop it. I'm just going to keep doing it a little bit. I didn't stop it all the way. So I made the commitment. I was going to continue doing it for a little while with some additional sessions. And then the new thing came in, and I was doing the new thing, and I was doing both. And I was flat out exhausted. I had no idea. And I was doing sessions, and I was so tired from doing the sessions that because the channeling takes a lot of energy, a lot of energy. And I was so tired all day long. I would do session, and then I would sleep between every session. I would do a session, I would sleep, session, sleep. And I had no life. I literally was sleeping all the time. I was working, sleeping, eating, sleeping, working. It was nuts. And the only way I could make it through was I had to free up energy. So I did that through intermittent fasting, which is like I basically skipped breakfast. I rested my digestive system, which that takes a lot of energy, digesting does. And that did the trick. That helped me get through it. But the point is that it is not our human instinct to let go until we have something new to hold on to. And this idea of letting something rise and exhale, letting something just do its thing, trusting that if we let it go, it will express itself and die, that is not a natural human instinct. And there are so many things like this in spirituality where it's like we have to go against what we think is the right thing to do, and we have to feel our way into understanding how energy works. Like we have to trust a different instinct, which is this instinct of spirit, and understanding the flow of energy, that it doesn't work like the way we think. And we are so confused about this. Like even in, like you guys know, I used to be an executive coach, and everything we would do in terms of I'd work with these executive teams, and everything was about measuring. What are our KPIs? Measuring, and then always trying to make decisions based on the data. And then they would joke openly, oh, well, no plan survives contact with reality. Like that was the common joke. And so they are in the same breath admitting, they're saying oh, we're going to measure everything down to the detail, and we're going to make all our decisions based on data. But nothing matters because it doesn't survive contact with reality. So to me, it's like, if something doesn't work, do you just keep doing the same thing? Do you just get more and more and more specific with your data? Is that the answer? Big data is the answer. It's like, well, maybe if you're saying in the same breath that no plan survives contact, maybe the answer is to try something new, is maybe to try doing it from the heart as opposed to the head. The head is important, the head matters, but the head is supposed to support the heart. Like the idea is to plan from the heart, to feel, right? To let energy, to understand the flow of energy and to work with it. And then once we have the heart choosing from joy, from, hey, this would be amazing, then we go in with the head and we say, okay, great, that would be awesome. Let's use data to support it. Let's use data to figure out how to do it. Like that's perfect. That works great. Well, nothing's perfect, but you know what I mean. That works great. But that's not how we do things. And so it's really a retraining ourselves. And I feel like I could talk about it for a long time because it is not an easy thing for us to wrap our heads around. And it really goes against all of our ingrained, I want to call them ingrained instincts, not instincts, because I have to believe that if we were free from our culture and from the ways we've been indoctrinated, I have to believe that that's the way I would have to believe we would be choosing with the heart. Because that feels like that's the truth of energy. That's how we actually, that's as manifestors, which is what we are. That's how we actually create. Yeah. So anyways, okay. In the same timing, they say, so that whole last thing is like, let it rise like a breath and exhale itself into the next moment. In this same timing, come to the realization of what you desire most, of what is moving inside of you, of what feels so far off in the distance that you cannot yet claim it. You know only of it because of some wishfulness in your nature. Allow this to rise into presence with you, as if one such as yourself has already claimed it and stands just afar where you may touch fingers and then come closer and touch noses, for this is yourself. So this really beautifully, I think, expresses this idea that we think the thing that we're moving towards is super far away from us. And they're saying, in fact, it's already in us. That we think this new earth, that this perfect, new, beautiful, loving, compassionate, equal, all the good things that we hope for, that we feel like it's so far away. And they're saying we need to get to the perspective of it's already in me. And the only reason we're envisioning it, the only reason it sounds so great is because it's already you. And all we have to do is stop thinking of it as something outside of ourselves that we have to work to get to. That we have to change ourselves, we have to strive, we have to, this idea that we're trying to reach for something far, far, far away. And we have to come to the perspective of, that's in me. All I have to do is be still enough to create from it, right? To get into the place of not resisting it because I'm putting it on a pedestal. You can't reach things that are on a pedestal. So, all right. So then they say, a new beginning, a new self, a new pace for becoming. Allow this presence of your own embodiedness to come into harmony with what is today. Allow this aspect of you to become real, firm, and present. Allow these two states of being in harmony with one another. So the two states of being, meaning that what you're resisting and what you're leaning towards, they seem so different, right? To imagine the current reality, the worst of the current day, and the vision of new earth. And imagine embodying both of those at the same time. It kind of feels like oil and water, right, in the body. How can I do that? How can I be both of those? And they say, you may allow what is in its gestational fury, in its suggestion of decomposition and chaos, and you may let in the glory of your own sublime exaltation. And you may become these two things, for they exist both between themselves and within you. So they're saying, yeah, you can. You can actually embody the oil and the water or vinegar or whatever it is. Yeah. And they say they are a disharmonious bunch, right? So it doesn't feel like it's a natural fit to say I have both of these inside of me. They do not like one another, but they are both yourself. They are both born from the moment, from the instant. The harmony you find is in your own understanding of what is. Come to terms with your own presence and your present nature without judgment. So that's it right there. In a word, that is what we're meant to do, is recognize it's true and to not judge ourselves, not to judge those aspects, to understand it's a breath and it will resolve, right? Without ascertaining or deciding or leaning or controlling, and simply be guided by the inspiration of each exhale. Beautiful. Yeah, and that is our temptation, right? Is to try to control, is to try to change the world that we don't like. And they're guiding us here to say the way that we change it is by becoming the reality that we want to be. And we only do that by letting go of the things we're resisting to. So that is that yes, you can change the world, absolutely, but we do it by becoming the reality we want to embody. that we want to live in. And we do that by releasing our judgment of what is, so that it can release, so that it can come to its own natural expression and closure. All right, so allow yourself not to lean, but to glide, to flow with ease between exhales, noticing what is, understanding the chaos, feeling what is exhausting itself, letting it rise to be and become, and accepting this, while also understanding that you are both in the past, the present, and the future moment. And I also love here in this one that they specify feeling what is exhausting itself. I think that is a major words of encouragement, to understand that the reason we're seeing the chaos in the world is because it is exhausting itself. The reason it has risen is because it's ready finally to express and release. And so it isn't a thing where it's coming up to be the new truth forever. That the more readily we stop our resistance, the more it can rise, express, and then exhaust itself and fall away. And so think about this, that even the things we think of as being forever, forever, forever end. Like the Roman Empire, it ended. Things end. They always end. That everything has a lifespan, and it rises and it falls. The things that we just take on as being like, this is the forever truth, they rise and they fall. The angels have told us that the United States, when I was a kid, it felt like the United States is forever, forever, forever. And then the angel said, yeah, the United States isn't going to be the same anymore. And that was so hard for me to wrap my head around. But now look where we are. Like, this seems more possible than ever. Things rise and they fall. And then new shapes take their place. We just have to not resist it and allow the new, better thing to take form with the energy that we free up. Yeah. And then they go on, last paragraph, they say, and the future moment exists alongside you as well. And this new beginning holds your hand most firmly. And as you stand in the moment of peace and surrender to this instant, you are the bridge between these two extremes of existence. You are the momentary expression of your soul as it digests, exhales, and prepares to begin again. And allow yourself to be. And this is all that is required. And I know it's like I love that. I love this, I love the whole message, but I love this ending here, because it's really this understanding that so we are the bridge between the two extremes. We embody both, even though they feel like they're not, that they couldn't live in the same body, but they do, as is proven by the fact that they are existing in our reality. So they both exist inside of us. Right? But they clearly say here, don't despair. Like the new beginning, the new future holds your hand most firmly. So they're saying that it's there. Like, we own it. It's ours. It's coming. This new earth is coming for us. And they're trying to coach us on how to bring it in more easily, how to bring it in more clearly, how to bring it in its highest perspective. And that is by going through this process of relaxing, right? That understanding that we are the momentary, in this moment, expression of our soul. And our soul, all we got to let it do is to digest all of these truths that we're trying to digest. Like all of the difficult things in the world, we just got to let our soul digest them. It's all it's got to do, right? Digest it and exhale and prepare to begin again. And that is that place of stillness, of infinite potential. Into the stillness is where we're meant to go. And allow yourself to be. And this is all that is required. Yeah. So beautiful, you guys. All right, you guys, have a great rest of the weekend. And I will see you guys next Friday live. Bye, you guys.